15 minutes if it goes the way of Team Liquid. But Fangfu Buffalo have been able to turn up the pace whenever they feel like it.
And Fangfu Buffalo, remember, they're playing in front of the home crowd here. We heard from Doublelift before this game started how big League of Legends is in Vietnam, how many people love it, how incredible the passion is for this game in Vietnam. And to have the opportunity and the responsibility to represent your region at the international stage like this, Fangfu Buffalo has to be hungry to find those wins.
Definitely have shown tenacity throughout all of their games this year. And we'll see if they can throw it down once more and get revenge on Team Liquid. Remember, even though Team Liquid got the 3-0 score in play-ins versus the Fangfu Buffalo, many of those games were extremely close. Actually, every single one of them. And there was a couple of mistakes that they could clean up to turn the tides.
The war drums clamor, and we're on to Summoner's Rift for the final time here today. Team Liquid versus Fangfu Buffalo, a rematch of the play-in best-of-5. The Team Liquid was able to win 3-0, but as you mentioned, Fangfu got leads in those games. Team Liquid is a team that plays a very slow, methodical style at the start. They want to build small leads into controlled objectives as the game moves forward, but Fangfu want to drag them into a bloodier game.
Yeah, they want to drag them down into the dirt with themselves. Now, it is the Aftershock support Lux, so this is going to be a battle Lux. And to top it all off, she took the Ignite. She means business down here. So we're in the school of thought of number 2, I think, Kobe, which is just kill them.
And I think that Palette has been such an exceptional player for PVB. You know, in play-ins, it was mostly the Scalio pick, and I was a little bit worried that, you know, with too much time spent just on the Galio, that he would become limited. But I really enjoyed his Pyke earlier today, even though they didn't get the victory, and now I'm excited to see his Lux play.
And as we're waiting on minions to spawn, I want to go ahead and make sure that everybody watching is caught up. For those of you who haven't seen a lot of the Sona Taric play, early on, Sona's just going to be poking people. Taric's going to be the one farming up most of the creeps. That is until Sona gets that support item all stacked up and ready to go. Then the farm priority switches over, and it will be Doublelift doing the farming from that point on. These guys have so much healing, too. Even when you have plenty of poke damage and lots of range, it'll be hard to keep them out of the lane.
They're going to walk right through the vision here. Their ward did not see the setup.
Want to see if they can get something, but it won't be a lot. No light binding at level 1. It was actually the E from Lux, which is a little suspect.
It's nice in the lane phase because you get to cover more creeps and you can zone out. It feels like a much more effectively because you can space it around the lane. But I agree with you. I was expecting the light binding and like a piercing arrow to just start slamming people.
Yeah, but they wanted to go for something a bit more useful throughout the traditional laning phase at level 1, so E plus E start for Fangfu.
I also want to go over what Team Liquid are doing here by splitting the map, with Xmithie trying to create a line basically across Summoner's Rift and separate the top jungle from the bottom jungle. You can see him going through this invade. You are going to get a big separation, and that is going to allow them to keep the Sona Taric unhindered. They won't have a Hecarim charging through to help out with that burst damage. Xmithie steals away the blue, actually, and then leaves the jungle, so maybe they're going to have to do a little bit of extra work with some wards.
Yeah, this is a great start from Xmithie. He frankly was a bit invisible the first time these teams faced, so a much better look this time around. And not only does it protect Sona Taric, but it also makes it that much more dangerous for Big Koro and Palette to be so far forward when their jungler is not going to gain anything if they're pressured in the lane.
All right, here we go. He's found that the blue has been stolen. However, not completely cleared for this blue side, so it's not going to, in fact, be the split top and bottom jungling here, and it is just going to be the blue buff denied from Hecarim, which, to be fair, is extremely important in the Hecarim's farming.
Yeah, because that's the thing. He is such an item-dependent champion, and he requires so much gold for him to be really effective in a lot of these trades.
Mid lane, yeah, a little bit of trading going on back and forth, but Zuhal's going into the enemy jungle, seeing if maybe there's something he can find here, but there won't be much. Sets down a control ward to make sure he's not spotted, but Xmithie, he's on the top side.
Yeah, exactly. Even though he left the Gromp behind and the single small wolf, he then returned to his red side to take away the possible answers here. So Hecarim, being left without anything to do for the last 30 seconds, save for place that control ward, really get him behind.
That feels bad. Devastating charge for a small dog.
So far behind, so early on in this game. 27-17 at 4 minutes is huge.
We talked about the improvements here from Smithy, from play-ins until group stage here today. Absolutely controlling it early on. Now he's got the level lead. Jensen is the only target here for Hecarim to try and go since the Taric Sona is under tower.
It's not even that good of a target. They will get the flash out of Jensen, but Zhuhao's in a really difficult spot right now of having to try to make something happen just because there's nothing to farm. Jensen going into the smoke. Smithy shows up here in the mid lane to make sure nothing bad's going to happen. Jensen about half HP missing. That flash would like to be able to shove this one up and then go back to base, heal up, and Smithy's going to facilitate just that.
I mean, this is a please, sir, some peanuts, anything on this map right now. He does manage to finally get his Raptor camp, but that was such a strenuous position for Zhuhao to be in. Didn't have anything to farm, like you said, went for the desperation gank, and does manage to get a flash for it.
Bottom side, you can see Pallet and Big Koro taking control of this lane, as you would expect a Varus and Lux to do. The range advantage is absolutely massive that they'll have over their opponents. As Zhuhao makes his return to the mid lane here. Jensen, no flash, but does have the Shuriken to jump over the wall.
Yeah, last time around the game came right after he had used his ability, so he didn't have any answers and had to use his flash. This time around, still has the Shuriken. Control Ward's going to see him, but there's nothing they know can do.
That was the classic no flash but a Kali type of gank there.
Yeah.
Now, there is finally an opportunity, it feels like, that we can start to turn our attention bot lane possibly, because again, this Varus and this Lux are so far forward all the time. I expect Smithy to actually path towards his Krugs, but it looks like he actually wants to even things up with Null here.
See if maybe he gets involved there in that mid lane. Bottom side, you can see Core JJ just hanging out here, soaking experience, doesn't want to walk up and try to risk any farm that could get him into a bad spot, waiting for Doublelift to come back down, as Smithy will farm up his Raptor camp. Null level 5, trading back and forth here with Jensen. Does manage to grab himself the level 6 and steal the Akali ultimate. We'll see how he uses that here in the upcoming trades.
Yeah, a little bit of the extra experience has been soaked by Smithy, so Jensen a little bit further behind. Big success in the top side, though, for Team Liquid. Impact winning in CS in the Gangplank versus Kennen. Plus being able to get extra gold. Oh man, just missed those two as we turn the pressure of the camera onto him. But also getting the extra reward of the gold that Gangplank gets when using his Q on minions.
And for NA fans, this is what you love to see. This is a guy that for so long had the reputation of, oh, Impact's a tank player, Impact's a tank player. Why are you putting him on carries? Stop putting Impact on carries, give him the tanks. But Gangplank and Jace have been champions he's found some success on. Doublelift will be forced to flash away there in the bottom side. There's that CC we were talking about coming through for Phong Vu.
I think it's about rewriting the perception around Impact a bit. The thing is it's not that he can't play the lane phase or he can't play the carries, but that's just not his responsibility to TL in their current formation. They need him to sacrifice advantages. He'll often group much earlier on with the team, despite what pick he is on, and play around the team's needs, rather than someone like the Shy or Wonder, which has so many resources catered to them.
Yeah, I think it's just a difference of he's much better at playing weak side, whatever type of champion he's on, like you're talking about, rather than playing strong side. Because when you look for strong side players, you know, the Shy is the prototypical strong side player, right? You want to press every advantage, try and harass at every moment, and really balloon those CS leads.
I love that language. I think Impact is a great weak side player, but hold on.
Core JJ keeps himself alive with the heal. The Ignite's going to keep on ticking, but the potion plus the heal keeps him alive, but it will not do the same for Doublelift. And Phong Vu Buffalo take first blood.
And the classic, they finally managed to crack Core JJ and Doublelift down there. Big Koro and Pallet are relentless, and they have the picks to back it up. And Smithy, you're a little too late, my friend.
And look at the CS comparison, too. Not only do they have the first blood, they're up 20 farm. Let's take another look at how they did it.
All right, so they get the initial light binding onto Core JJ, get a lot of damage down onto him. With the double heals, he's able to flash out and stay alive, but it's literally just a mistake from Doublelift. He walks up into them to try and get some return damage, and he goes down instead.
I mean, it might be one of those scenarios you're not used to facing someone like a Lux down there, and you just didn't expect the damage.
I mean, he literally just walked up and got hit with the Cutlass. I mean, you get Cutlass slowed, and they shot him down from there.
And one thing I want to mention now that Phong Vu Buffalo has got themselves the first blood, when you look at Team Liquid's stats in their regular LCS play, this team has a very low first blood rate, but they have incredibly high rates at first Baron, first Drake, and first Turret. Sort of showing how they don't like to play through going for these kill-heavy games, but would rather focus on other aspects instead, more objective-based play. But they want to keep things slow if they can. Phong Vu Buffalo has the ability, we've just been shown, to make these kills happen in a 2v2. There was no jungler assistance there, and Team Liquid must be respectful.
Big jungle difference here, though. Xmithy, because of the early counter jungling, has been able to get a sizable lead, and now he is focusing the bottom side here. Once you get level 6s on the Sonateric, the possibility of that CC completely changes the lane. But I like how big Koro's reaction here. He's playing much further back, and he's respecting that level 6 possibility.
Yeah, suddenly when you see that Sona and Tarek are very happy to step forward, you need to pay respectful, but meanwhile, mid lane.
Jensen looking to make the play happen. It's going to be a 2 versus 2. Null's going to be taken low, nearly getting himself bursted down, and Smithy gets Team Liquid on the board.
Yeah, Null is able to steal his ultimate right before he goes down, but then Smithy gives him the real one, and they're able to get the actual kill there.
Team Liquid tie things up here. They're still ahead about 600 gold. Xmithy moving towards the bottom lane now is going to find Big Koro and Pallet there in the lane, but considering Doublelift and Core JJ are occupied with farm at the turret, Xmithy doesn't want to force this into a fight.
That moment when you're chased off the lawn by Lux and Varus, like, what are you doing? Turn around.
Get out of here, jungler. Feels bad considering those are normally two champions you want to engage on as the Jarvan, but you just don't have the opportunity right.
But I do expect Xmithy to eventually start pathing down here, especially when the Gangplank ultimate comes back off of cooldown. But I'd like to see him path from the back of the lane, maybe walk up from his Krug camp, because one of the nice things about Tarek and Sona's play pattern is they can just throw the CC directly in front of them, and Jarvan can gap close no problem.
And honestly, you don't have to force down in this bottom side. If they hadn't made that mistake at their turret and died there, everything would be going just fine. Let's take another look at their all-in on Null, though. Jensen with the slick moves, able to finish it up. And Xmithy is there for the dunk to get that kill credit. I think they definitely would have liked it on to Jensen to try and complete his gunblade, but a kill's a kill, and they'll take it either way.
I think it's so important to get more and more tape and more comfort of TL on picks like the Akali. Now, I don't think they have the same flexibility as someone like IG or G2 have with a lot of these picks, but the fact that something like Akali isn't falling through the draft, doesn't have priority on this team, would have been a major red flag. So props to Jensen here.
And this is one of the things that I think a lot of people look at as a huge upgrade when you compare Jensen to what they had in Pobelter last year. When they came to these international events last time around, Pobelter would frequently be seen on Malzahar duty or something that's just, he's not a primary carry. But Jensen's the type of player you can trust on this Akali. You can say, hey, I know this guy's going to make something happen. Let's invest in this lane. And right now, he's making something happen in the 1v1. He's able to find the kill before Zuhal's able to get himself involved. The onslaught of shadows is a full retreat, and Team Liquid comes out on top.
Yeah, he's making something happen all right. He's making mid-die, and they're going to gain control of the bottom side too. Xmithy going to use the Scryer's Bloom over the Ocean Drake here. Is he actually going to start it up? They have full mid control. The only contest here could come from bottom side.
And remember, when you have Sona and Tarek, it's so easy to get objectives without taking any damage whatsoever because of the ridiculous amount of healing these champions can give you. You can see Core JJ just walk up, give him the Bastion shield, give him the heals coming out, bonk the thing a couple of times to get some healing charges back, and that is an easy Ocean Drake for the side of Team Liquid.
And it's also so easy to leave Doublelift right now because he does have access to the Flash and the Cleanse, although, as I say that, be a little bit more respectful. You don't want to burn it straight away.
But Piercing Arrow is normally a worry if it just hits you straight up like that, fully charged with nothing in the way, but this is Sona Tarek, plenty of heals. Let's take another look at Jensen's outplay in the mid lane.
Yeah, you've been talking about Jensen's Akali. Look at the footwork here, dodging so many skill shots. Then Xmithy comes in, they do trade ultimates with the junglers at the end, but most of it is about him on the Akali, setting up that kill.
But it feels like Phong Vu Buffalo are done playing around. You see Zuhao is now making his way down bottom, and he's probably going to start teaming up with the classic win condition for the Buffaloes, which is just a hard camp this bot lane.
But you got to remember, it's so hard to set up some kind of a dive against Sona Tarek. The ability to render everyone invulnerable with the Cosmic Radiance means it has to be executed perfectly.
Yeah, the possibility of a counter gank is so great that the first step that PVB have to take is tracking Xmithy. And Smithy has actually been running circles around this game so far. I think that's the biggest difference in the factor of how this game is going.
92 to 65 CS. It is astronomical right now how far ahead Smithy is.
And honestly, all of Team Liquid, except for the bottom lane, has some pretty impressive leads. Gangplank, a champion that normally you would expect to fall behind maybe a little bit against the Kinnan because of the range versus melee advantage, because of the fact that Kinnan can pop the barrels, is ahead. The Akali's ahead by plenty. Only the bottom lane falling behind, but it's Sona Taric. They are going to have plenty of utility to scale into these fights.
I actually love this play, however, from the Buffaloes.
Jensen getting himself away. Nice smoke into the Shuriken.
They're recognizing that there's nothing left for them down into the bot lane. It's too hard to break Sona and Taric at this point, so let's flip it. Australian lanes. Let's pick up our bot lane, let's send him to the top lane, and start trying to apply pressure, looking for plays in the mid lane, looking for plays around Rift Herald.
Well, Team Liquid already booked their ticket down under as well, because it's Impact sent into the bottom lane as the Sona Taric is going to be brought towards the top side to make sure they're ready to contest for these objectives. Impact has both teleport and ult to be able to get himself involved. Jensen going to be taken down to half HP. Hidden away in the smoke. Null looking to go even further. Has the Akali ulti, so Jensen has to flash himself away. He'll be getting some heals from this part of Sona and Taric.
Look at
but
Kennen.
Is it going to be enough? The Kinnan flank could be very impactful here as Impact has made his way into the fight now with a TP as well. Rift Herald secured by the side of Fongbu Buffalo, and nobody's going to die for this one.
Yeah, big pickup there for the Fongbu Buffalo. They also got the teleport out of Impact. So Gangplank, no teleport left. He does have the ultimate to try and clear some waves, but Rift Herald immediately used on mid.
Yeah, it's inside track on this mid lane, as well as Smithy late to the play because of the light binding.
Fongbu Buffalo gonna take that first turret away from Team Liquid. I applauded TL's first turret stats earlier on, but Fongbu found the opportunity to really get themselves back in this game, grab that first turret money. They don't even need the plates. That's a big play for them.
They got first blood, they got first turret. They're still down in gold though, because of how well Team Liquid's top side of the map had been doing. And again, the Sona Taric strength comes in the team fighting phase. Comes when they get to join the rest of the squad.
That's the thing. It's kind of like you're working against the clock here. So we'll hold it. Jensen.
Big Koro will manage to survive. Jensen doesn't want to go any further. There's a lot of missing members from the side of PVB right now, according to Team Liquid's vision. Jensen doesn't want to overexert himself here.
But I do want to go back to your point, Kobe, because I think you're absolutely right. This is a situation where probably in comms, yeah, like, it's totally fine. You know, this is going to turn on online. We're going to have a strong 5v5, and we're just going to slowly death ball into them. This composition has great scaling potential, and this lead isn't big enough to start hitting the panic button.
Impact definitely seems to be pretty comfortable here in this top side. Trinity Force completed on the GP. Null Magic Mantle in inventory working towards those Mercury Treads. Plenty of CC to want to reduce the duration of here in this game. As the Trinity Force proc means every single one of those parlays is going to be so obnoxious for Zeros to deal with. Zeros, a player who came in with very high expectations. People have very high expectations of him going into this tournament. Normally a big mover, a big shaker for the side of Fongbu Buffalo, but he's had a bit of a rough performance so far in the tournament.
Yeah, I do think it has been a bit of a surprise for a lot of people, the underperformance of Zeros. It has kind of created space for other successes to emerge on their team, though, and one of the biggest ones has been the bottom lane.
For me, it's also kind of been the variance in Zeros' performance. Sometimes you get those glimpses of it, and you're like, okay, this is what they're talking about. This is the hard carry player. And then sometimes you just flash forward and dies as Jace, and you're like, well, it's just that head-scratcher moment. So I just want to see Fongbu Buffaloes kind of control some of the variance in their play, because it feels like if they can tighten up those elements, they can be a much more competitive force on this stage.
And tightening up the ship is exactly what I wanted to see from this team in the play-in best-of-5. They did get advantages over Team Liquid in those games. They were able to find opportunities, just like in this one, to find weaknesses in that armor, ways to really play their style. But it felt like always when the mid game would come around, Team Liquid was comfortable allowing them to make mistakes, being confident they could punish those, and not needing to go into this panic mode of, oh, force this, oh, do that, oh, we're falling behind. They seemed like they were exactly where they wanted to be.
And unfortunately, I feel like that means that we need to put the magnifying glass on people like Zeros and Null, because the last time these teams met, it was those two individual members that mechanically just found these missteps at clutch moments.
Also, we are approaching the time in the game where you get the completed sight stones for both Sona and Taric. If you have that many wards, it becomes very difficult to find your engages. Hecarim and Kennen both really rely on trying to flank opportunities to make those engages happen and make those big AoE plays. If you've got double sightstones worth of wards all over the sides, then it becomes just so difficult to find your way in and get the surprise.
I mean, we can't undersell the value of that either. When you look at a game of League of Legends, when you get in the super late game, things become so dangerous. Why? Because when people get full builds, you can't buy control wards anymore. Every ward means so much at the top level of play. To double the amount that your opponents can throw down is huge. And I really want to see Team Liquid use that. You can already see some wards thrown down here in the mid lane, keeping an eye on things. Some of the top side river as well. Multiple control wards on this bottom side just to make sure nothing bad happens to the split pusher for TL.
Yeah, and that's the key thing. It's also affecting the split pusher. It can keep Jensen that much more safe, especially on a Akali where he is starting to find a lot of ground to run in this matchup.
I mean, there's nobody who's actually a tank on the enemy team. Assassins hate dealing with tanks because you can't assassinate them. It's like trying to punch a hole through a brick. But Jensen can punch a hole through any of these guys. All you have is damage on everyone on the enemy team. Even Hecarim these days goes for a Warrior Trinity Force style of build, and Jensen can blow him up.
I'm definitely expecting a force at this Infernal Drake. Spawning now and having Impact walk over. There is a teleport available for Zeros for PVB. However, it's so difficult for them to fight the 5-on-5 right now with Core JJ and Double if grouped up ultimates available.
This is definitely going to be a show, ladies and gentlemen. Team Liquid starting up the Infernal Drake. Already have it down to about 1/3 HP, and it looks like Fongfu Buffalo will not bother contesting. They do not want to risk the entire game on this Infernal Drake.
And this is a dream come true, not just because it's Infernal, but the fact that you have a dragon that was trying to lure them into a fight. Because TL know if PVB take this, we're just going to smash them. So the more welcome these Drakes are, the more high prize these Drakes are, the better that TL will do. They don't have a traditional ADC. It's still difficult to siege towers, so they want to fight around these Colosseums, these monster objectives.
Then, because they know that PvP are not going to take that fight, they are able to use the Gangplank ultimate to clear the minion wave on top side so they don't give up the top turret in exchange for the Infernal Drake. And they're able to use their resources to allocate both objectives.
I'm really looking at Fongfu Buffalo to find some kind of that huge flank that you were talking about when you mentioned the vision. It's got to be a Hecarim charge into multiple people with a Kinnan coming in from the side as well, because trying to fight just straight up everybody run into each other, it's the Dothraki running into the dark.
It also feels like it would have to be kind of just as PvP came off of the spawn, because they need to have, you know, fresh sweepers, fresh control wards, and just cleared out the vision or exhausted the vision from TL, and then try to find that small pocket, that small moment that they could look for a sucker punch there. If we find these situations where we're doing a massive Baron dance or everything's very drawn out, PvP probably haven't cleared all of the vision or don't have the resources necessary.
Well, PVB are making a play here into the top side onto Impact. 4 versus 1. Not enough oranges to eat to get out of that one. And that's their second kill of the game.
And look at the runway they created for themselves to do that. There's so many control wards littered all throughout that jungle.
Yeah, really nice surprise attack there from PvP. That is going to get them a kill plus an objective. So super high value there because they get the turret afterwards.
Always what you want to consider when you're investing so many resources into making a play in a game of League of Legends. If you're doing all that for just a kill, great. You got 300 gold. Divide that among everybody's time. That's 75 gold a person. Fantastic. You got a ward each. But when you get the turret on top of it, you get the map control, everything else compiled and compounded into that, those are the kinds of plays that I really want to see these teams making. And that's why I like watching Fongfu Buffalo, why I think that this team has shown progress from what we've seen from emerging regions in the past, and even the other emerging regions that participated in this year's play-ins. Vietnam has been a standout among emerging regions. I mean, when you look at this squad, they have managed to send, not this squad, this region I should say, they have managed to send 3 different teams to the main stage. Gigabyte Marines, EVOS, and Fongfu Buffalo have all been a part of taking that next step, and I think it's showing by recognizing what kind of plays they need to make.
And it's also the evolution of playing a standard form of League of Legends. This is no longer the days of Gigabyte Marines just using cheese to kind of scrape out these victories. They're trying to go toe-to-toe with TL, playing fundamentals.
Are you trying to tell me that level 6 Nocturne at 4 minutes isn't fundamental League of Legends?
I
You
don't
have
know
Mordekaiser in there too?
what games you're playing, but no.
They were the faceless before we even knew what the faceless were.
Yeah, these guys, the Gigabyte Marines were that's the Giga faceless. That's the ultimate aspiration of all those players. But next Drake, this game is going to be live here in about 2 minutes. Baron is on the table, and PVB are in the Team Liquid jungle, trying to set down some control wards. You can see so much control for this team over the entirety of mid lane.
They feel like a wolf pack right now. They're like hunting around. They look at impact. They look back towards the mid lane. They are just itching to pull that trigger.
Well, we saw what Team Liquid did to Wolves earlier today. We'll hope that the Buffaloes do not meet the same fate. At least their hometown fans hope that. Impact not in the top side anymore, farming up the bottom, but Jensen could be the target here. We'll see if PVB are able to find the collapse. Null does have the Akali assassination available. Stole that ult away. Pallet makes his way up to the top side, but they don't want to try to make some sort of a play with it.
Jensen is such a difficult target to try and pick off in the side lanes. Not only is he on Akali, one of the most mobile champions in the entire game, but he has always been lauded for his skill shot dodging, and we've seen it already throughout this game.
But you are starting to see one of the shortcomings of this composition. 22 minutes into the game, and TL have only secured a single tower. Again, you don't have a traditional ADC, so you're super reliant on splitting the map with Akali or a possible Baron to start shoving this down.
And one of the biggest things is they have to rely on Smithy to get that engage. If he doesn't force the good engage on someone without a flash, who just flashes away from the Cataclysm, then you're not guaranteed to get value out of your Taric ultimate. You have to be able to make use of that timing window.
Problem is, everybody on PVB currently has the flash ready to go, except for the horse, of course, which does not have the flash, but Onslaught of Shadows will facilitate an escape if necessary. Team Liquid trying to clear out some of the vision here, put down some of their own as they move forward and prep for this ocean break.
This feels like a situation where TL are gonna, kind of eyeing up their opponent. Maybe they find a pick, maybe they go for it very quickly, but otherwise they are happy to just try to allocate farm, particularly on double lift. Sona needs kind of one more completed item before her damage really starts taking off, and once they have that, they're going to feel much more confident just walking into Baron.
Smithy over the wall, drops the Cataclysm. Pallet going to be flashing away from that one. Smithy going into the stopwatch, keeping himself alive. Cosmic Radiance comes down. Jensen into the back line. Unstoppable Onslaught gets away, but only for a moment. Jensen's able to grab one as Zeros comes around from the side, looking to find the return kill on him. Instead, going to be taken low, taken down. A double kill over to Team Liquid's mid laner.
They're able to get that re-engage. You can see they flash out of the Cataclysm, but Jensen follows it. Now they're going back in.
It's not over. Doublelift grabs himself the stun, and that is going to be another dead Buffalo. Null falls, and Team Liquid get 3 for 0. Now they've got the chance to make something happen, and the call is Baron.
Yeah, immediately walking over to the Baron. It's just the poke damage left from Pallet and Big Cora. Now the Lux ultimate is available there, but they don't have vision on the Baron to start.
And that is the critical team fight of the game. 23, almost 24 minutes into the game. That is going to be Baron for the Zona Taric, and that is just too much to deal with. You get so much pushing. Jensen going for another kill.
Jensen is not going to be sated with only a couple. Instead, he needs some more money in his pocket. He'll go on a rampage, killing Pallet with that one, and it's 5 men strong with Baron buff for TL.
They pick up the Baron, they pick up the kill, they're going to make a quick back, and now Sona is going to be fully online here. They'll do so much damage. The confidence for TL, they know our window is now. It's time to strike. They're going to eat everything here.
Once you get the Lich Bane and you convert that burst damage into magic damage, the burst just goes through the roof. In addition to that, they also have the extra completed Sightstone, so now he is also able to apply those extra wards. They can pick up the extra Dragon and then get to pushing down the secondary turrets with their Baron buff.
I talked earlier about how this team likes to play for objectives, how their stats support that. Those stats also include an average of a plus over 4,000 gold Baron power play. When you see Team Liquid take this objective, you expect to see multiple of these bowling pins just get knocked over across the map, and that's what I'm looking for now. Double it with the Lich Bane, hanging out there in mid lane with Core JJ nearby. Impact going to be pushing up here in the bottom side, level 15 on this gangplank. Smithy going to start things off here onto Zuhao. Onslaught of Shadows not going to be used just yet. Now, counter-initiating. Smithy in some trouble. 1 versus 4. No stopwatch available, but he's got the backup coming in from Doublelift, who's going to be taken very low. Big Koro going on a killing spree, finding the kill down onto Smithy. Impact's able to find himself one onto Zeros. Null tries to get away. Impact's going to explode the barrel, but now he finds himself caught between 3 members. Over the wall comes Jensen. Mop and bucket at the ready. Here's the cleanup crew. Unstoppable for Team Liquid. It's a double, make it a triple, or is it? It doesn't matter who they went to. They're all falling over. Fogbu Buffalo lose 4.
And that is going to be complete destruction. With the Baron buff afterwards, your Baron power play hits that 4,000 mark, Captain Flowers, and goes straight through the roof.
Jensen is popping off in this game. This is his first MSI. This is a player who joined Team Liquid because he wanted that NALCS title. He wanted to win domestically. He wanted to get a chance to play at MSI. And if this is what he's gonna look like, damn if he didn't deserve it.
And he said that he would take Double If out of the group stage. That was the deal right there. And it looks like TL are starting to look at a 2-0 start to their MSI run.
Yep, Double If carry him into finals, and Jensen carry the team at international play. True to his word, doing that on the Akali right now. And they leave the base open after taking the inhibitor tower and heavily damaging the bottom one there. Team Liquid do get the reset. Nick Smithy trying to pick up the Draken on the back half.
And I just love what Jensen brings to this team, because you look at TL and it feels like they're a 1-4, a 5v5 oriented team, and they're in a tournament that is stacked with 1-3-1 playstyles. But if he keeps putting up performances like this Akali, suddenly TL can start to match that 1-3-1. Suddenly they have another weapon in their arsenal to make them a threat at this MSI.
Null's in some trouble here in the mid lane. Jensen going forward. Perfect execution, looking to find it. Won't quite be able to do so, but that inhibitor is vulnerable and at half HP. They should be able to finish this one off rather easily. I talked in the last game about how you get to a point where you feel like you're just depending on opponent mistakes at that point because you're so far behind. And Fongvu Buffalo definitely need Liquid to misstep somewhere. 10,000 gold down, having lost the inhibitor 27 minutes in. TL is looking to end this one soon.
Yep. Grouping up here on the bottom side, still have a little bit of the Baron buff left, and not very much of the tower left.
One more auto attack, or maybe two, depending on who walks up and bonks it. Will take down this bottom lane inhibitor turret. Baron power play is going to close out at about 6,000 gold.
And this is a game on a knife's edge. PVB know that if they overcommit here, if they dive too far, that the game is over. They want to try to dissuade TL, eat up some of their time, try to farm back into this game, but they also know that the slight misstep here costs them everything.
Yeah, the problem for PVB is that Team Liquid are the ones holding that knife. And if they don't drop
Give me
it,
lunch money.
then if they don't drop it, then it's gonna be in their favor here. One more bit of burst damage here as they push up the minion wave into the tower. Jensen on the outside gonna flank.
Here we go. Big Coral gonna be in some trouble. Cosmic Radiance gonna be coming in from Null, keeping himself alive, but that's not gonna be the main target. Instead, it's gonna be Zeros trying to defensively. Ult gonna be run down. Jensen going into the stopwatch, keeping himself alive. Pallet not quite able to find the kill. Jensen finally gonna be shut down. But Team Liquid will crush Fongvu Buffalo in their base. 4 men still standing, only 2 on the side of PVB, and the Nexus turrets are the target. Core JJ and Smithy going even further, looking to find the kill on the Null, and Impact goes on a killing spree. Pallet can do nothing but look on at the rubble as Team Liquid will take them down in 29 minutes.
And the redemption story for TL starts with a 2-0 at MSI. North America, when will you be impressed with this team? It's not that same flashy style, but they kept their end of the bargain. And even with a softball start to the tournament, they made sure to close out cleanly.
Yes, this is the easiest opening here as far